Hello. All right, we had a little bit of tech issues, but let me know if you all can hear me and see me. Give me a hey, hi, give me a why, yes. Let me know if you can hear me and see me. Um, Said that my audio was kind of having some issues, but then it said that we were all good. So give me the thumbs up if you all, I'm going to check on my phone too. If we're all good and you guys can hear me and see me, let me know. Give me like a thumbs up. While I'm checking for that, we'll go ahead and get started. All right. Hi, hi, hi. Welcome. All right, got it. I see it. I see it. All right. I saw my audio playing. Welcome, everyone. We have a special topic about how personal branding helps you pivot. And I truly believe that in today's job market and in today's economic environment and political environment, you need to know how to brand yourself and you need to know how to pivot. I think the next few years are going to be um, interesting and challenging, but for some of us who know how to like pivot and go with the flow, it's going to be there's going to still be some opportunities for us. Right. So I don't want you all to feel like you're stuck in a career, you're stuck in a role that you hate. That's simply not true. And let me tell you all this: personal branding is the fastest way that you can advance in your career and increase your income. Point blank, period. I did a whole presentation last week on it. That live was rocking on like the how, the why of like really backing up that statement. So if you haven't, go ahead and check out last week's. And it was like, I think it was like how to advance in your career using personal branding. Check that out. So today's topic is all about how personal branding helps you pivot and helps you pivot in your career. We may touch on a little bit of business, maybe, right? All right, stop putting your questions in. If you're someone watching or you know someone and they're a woman of color and they are looking to change careers, you want to change industries, maybe you're in finance, you want to go in human resources, maybe you're in IT and you want to go into healthcare, which I had a client do that. Maybe you're in healthcare and you want to go into academia or to teaching, right? Whatever it is, this is going to be for you. But start putting any questions, comments that you all have. Put them in the comments. I'll check those out. Right. So let me quickly introduce myself. Hey, welcome to my show. I am Latrice Huff, career and leadership coach to ambitious women of color, and it is my mission and my movement to put more women of color in positions of power and leadership roles. I do this by helping women of color increase their salaries by 20 to 30, 50, by 20 to $50,000 using their personal brand. Right. So this is my whole thing. This is what I've dedicated my career and my business to, is helping you utilize your personal brand to advancing your career and increase your income quickly. Quickly. All right. And if you're like Latrice, I am loving the series, I'm loving the show, and you want more, I am actually doing a free 3-day workshop. It is called Secure the Bag, Landing a Six-Figure Promotion as a Woman of Color. I'm going to be going over day one is like how to advancing your career using personal branding and increasing your salary by $20 to $50,000. And when you stay to the end on day one, I am going to be giving in real life, real time LinkedIn audits. So you want to stay to the end for that. Day two is all about mindset. And when I say mindset, we're going to be talking about building your confidence, overcoming imposter syndrome. How do you reframe negative thoughts? All of that's going to be day two. And then day three, I'm actually going to share a little bit of my personal story. And this is going to be for any of you all who have a business or want to start a business. And that's going to be on how I actually made 100K in 7 months as a Black owned business. I'm going to be sharing with you all everything that I did, the advice I took, the advice I didn't take, my personal branding, how I packaged my services, and my mindset going through all of that, because it is a mindset shift when you get to six figures or more in your business as well. So that is absolutely free. If you are interested in that, just type branding in the comments, and I will send you all that link to sign up. Yeah, it is showing me that I'm like freezing. That my let me know. Is it showing you all that my picture's freezing? And it was like this weird look too. And I was like, oh my God. All right. I can see the comments. Hey Barbara, she says, whoop, whoop. Hey Barbara. Yeah, I'm giving y'all all the details, all the things. I decided to do this. I'm not gonna lie, because of because of what's been going on lately. Before that, I was like, maybe I'll do a webinar, maybe I'll do a workshop. I was like, no, my people need 3 days. They need to know everything that has been going on. And you all also need to have clear cut examples of what is possible for you in any economic environment. I want you to know how powerful, how brilliant, how resilient you are. So, no matter what is going on, the economic environment, the political environment, the job market, you know how to control your own future, your own destiny, and your own money. Okay. And so that's why I decided to do this free workshop. It is going to be amazing. After the first day, I am going to open up my special program, my signature program, the Fearless Branding Formula. That program is specifically designed for women of color, and it helps you land a six-figure promotion and increase your salary by $20,000 to $50,000. Again, no matter the economic environment. All right. So thank you. Prophet's like, woo, woo. I love that. Woo, woo. All right, Rose says branding. We're gonna get you that link soon. Okay, so I was only freezing for a quick second. On my end, it was like really a long time, and it was like really had me on like this the most awkward looking pose too. I was like, oh my goodness. All right. So really quickly, I'll share my pivoting story, and then I'll share how branding helps you pivot quickly and without taking a pay cut. Okay. Personal branding will help you pivot quickly and without taking a pay cut. Myself, I have shifted and pivoted in careers so many times. I started my career off as a waitress in hospitality. I actually thought I was going to be like a restaurant manager and own the restaurant. It was a little bit too much for me. But I was in the restaurant industry, restaurant hospitality industry for maybe like 5 or 6 years for a decent amount of time. Then I pivoted into accounting. And how I did that, just so you all know, I was working for my mom's company doing some accounting services for her. And I also was going to school for business. So I took a couple of accounting classes. And then I utilized and my waitressing and bartending experience, and I talked about how I had to do accounting in that role and actually like utilize money and accounting skills. So that was how I pivoted out of hospitality, which was the best thing for me. Some people love it, not my thing. Thank you, Barbara, for putting that. Yes, Barbara, you are on it. If I say anything and you all got some tips, be sure to put it in the comments. Love this. She says, pivot without taking a pay cut. I need to do a whole post on that. Yes, you can pivot without taking a pay cut, and personal branding allows you to do it. So this is why I'm sharing. Before I even get into like things my clients have done, I want to share with you all my personal experience and how I did it. So I pivoted from waitressing and bartending, so the hospitality industry, into accounting, and into accounting. Was actually in nonprofit. I mean, I completely shifted. I love the company. I did not like accounting. Accounting was not my thing. Could y'all imagine me in account? I did not have all right, all my accounting people out there, I'm sorry, but I don't have an accounting personality. So realized that was not for me. However, I needed that job while I went through school. So I was like, okay, while I'm finishing school, I'm going to stay here. But my degree was in business and marketing. So I was like, hey, can I intern in the marketing department while I'm here? And I let me share with you all why I did that. I was actually a single mom of 2 kids. I was going to school full time and working full time. I could not take on another unpaid internship. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do any of those things. So I got creative. I used my resources. I used my network. I had already built up a reputation there. So I used my brand and said, hey, during my lunchtime for a certain amount of hours and certain amount of days, can I Can I work with you all in this accounting department? And that was kind of my first transition into marketing. So then when I graduated, I utilized that experience, same company, but I branded my resume in a way that showed that now I have marketing experience. From there, I got a job in a marketing department. Loved that job, hated my boss, right? Loved the job, hated my boss. I was really good at it. This was what I went to school in. I literally was like, this is the dream role. The boss was a nightmare. And so I pivoted again into human resources. But how did I pivot? I built up a reputation. I was already volunteering and working with the other department. I would tell them how what I was doing correlated to human resources. And I was doing this before I knew they even had an opening. I was like, hey, you know what? I know I need to get out of I was like, I knew I needed to get out of that department with the boss. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I started to like HR and what they were doing. So when they had an opening, I actually went and talked to the head of that department. I asked her about the role. I asked her, did she think I would be a good fit? And she was like, yeah, but I don't know if you have enough experience. And I literally was like, Latrice, you're going to sit down, take this job description, take what she told you, and start to apply yours, not just my skills, but my gifts and any personal experience I had as well. So I was very methodical about this. I had a it was in the same company. I built up my reputation. I knew what people were saying about me when I wasn't in the room, right? So now I'm going from marketing to human resources. And they did not just give me that role. Let me be honest. Be honest. I had an interview process. It was a competitive interview process. Um, I interviewed for it. I had like a tragedy right before the interview, but I was prepared. And I remember telling them, I was like, hey, marketing and human resources do the same thing. I'm either marketing the company to potential clients or marketing the company to potential employees. And they loved that because I tied in the connection. So I was able to shift careers and I actually got a promotion. So I did not take a pay cut. I actually got more money. It was more money, right? And I'm sharing with you all the specifics of what I did because a lot of times people are like, but how, but how, but how? I'm giving you all the how so you can truly think about like, are you doing this in your career or are you thinking, I just need to start over? When you go with, I need to start over, that's when you take a pay cut. If somebody, have you ever heard somebody say, oh, if you're switching industries or changing careers, you're going to have to start from the beginning. You have to start from scratch. And ignore that. As soon as somebody say that, I'll go ahead and walk away. I'm like, oh, not me, babe. And some of you have come to me and you got 5, 10, 15, 20 years experience in a particular area or in a particular arena. And you think you need to scratch all of that because you now want to transition into something else. Not true. You just now need to communicate how your gifts, how your expertise, how your experience solves the problem for the department or area you're pivoting in. Okay. So that's what I did when I was like, oh no, I'm going to be marketing the company. Because they were like, well, you don't have experience with this. You don't have experience with that. I was like, actually, I do. And this is where I want you all to listen and be like, I can take control of my own narrative. Even though she was like, oh, you don't have experience in this. I was like, yes, I do. And let me tell you how. So don't think that they're always going to see the alignment. You, as the expert in the field and trying to transition into the other field, you are the one who needs to create that narrative and alignment for them. Let me know if this makes sense, you all. I'm gonna see. I see Barbara's comment. She said, "I didn't like doing payroll, but I know accounting is work." Whew. Let me tell y'all, payroll is no joke. I respect all my payroll people out there. Whew, but I never, payroll is not more for that. Payroll, accounting, and I'm good with numbers. I just didn't enjoy it. I just didn't enjoy it at all. So yeah, it's okay to be like, hey, I don't like doing this, right? But let me know if you all understand what I'm saying. Hey, Tanisha. Hey, I will get you out that link as well to the 3-day workshop. But I want you all to see how you are not starting over. You're not starting from scratch. What you need to do is create that narrative, give it to them, articulate your value, articulate the brand and the connection versus believing and agreeing with what they are saying. Okay. That's number one. So just keep in mind, I anticipated that they would have some concerns and questions because I was competing with other people. I was competing with other internal candidates and I was competing with other external candidates. So I had to position myself and make my brand top tier. I had to share why the fact that I had marketing experience was better than someone else who had HR experience. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? That's what you got to do. So this is how now I was able to compete with other internal candidates, with other external candidates, not just compete, but stand out and stand apart. One, they already knew me, right? And they knew my reputation. But hey, it wasn't like I wasn't competing with other internal people. They thought I didn't have experience. I had to share and give them the story of my experience and how it solved that problem. And the problem is retention, getting people in. That was the problem with HR that I was solving, that unique problem that I was solving. Okay. Then from there, I was like, you know what? I want to brand from like entry level HR to like higher level HR. This I was very strategic about when I was like, you know what? I want to be known as someone who's strategic but friendly. Like I was walking around smiling, talking, and I remember one time my boss was like, "Hey, the executive director, he doesn't know. He thinks when people are talking, they're not working." And I was like, "I'm HR. I was like, I'm preventing fires before they start." And I was like, I'm being very strategic and people are letting me know what keeps them up at night. And they were. And I was like, I'm solving their problems before they even get to you. Right. So I explained to him what he was doing. I'm like, you all see me talking, but I'm actually building a relationship with our managers. I'm actually talking to them about the problems. Employees are coming to me before issues start. I'm resolving things before they become big fires. And so I started to talk about my brand as this HR professional person who was strategic but friendly, who solved your problems. And so one time I was walking forward and I was behind my boss, and someone came up to him and they had, I think it was an issue with salary, it was something. And he was like, "Hey, you want Latrice for that? She's really strategic when it comes to these things." And I was like, yes, that's how you know your brand is working. And that's how I was able to transition into management and leadership. But let me tell you something, trust and believe, no one ever, and I want to be, we're on loud, correct. No one ever gave me that narrative. I created it. Yes, people knew I was smart, but they also saw this bubbly young girl talking and doing things. So they could have very much had the narrative, oh, she's not working, right? She's not at her desk. HR, and I had somebody tell me, they were like, HR is supposed to be paper pushers. I was like, no, I actually solve problems. I advise the staff in leadership. Like they're coming to me with their challenges. I'm solving their solution. I'm solving their problems. Like we had a very strategic partnership. Right. And then from there on, it became easy. Every year to year and a half, I got an increase. I got a raise. I moved up in my career. And then when I started my own business, I used the same techniques. I was like, what do I want to be known for? What problem do I want to serve in the market? And who's my target audience? And I'm sharing this because never once did I have to start over. I was not starting from scratch. And there was a moment when I transitioned from out of corporate into my own business. There was this, oh crap, feeling like I'm starting from scratch. I know nothing. I have nothing. And I had somebody tell me, girl, get a grip. Like sometimes you need a real good friend and a real good tribe and community that's gonna be like, girl, you tripping. You got 10 years experience. You got certifications. You have this expertise. Like, girl, you know what you're doing. And it changed everything for me. And so each time I never started from scratch. And I share this story because so many of you have told me, Latrice, I feel like I'm starting over. I don't know what to put on my resume I don't know what to put on my resume when I'm pivoting to a new career. I don't know how to talk about my experience that I've done. Or here's the biggest thing, you continue to use the same language from the old industry. And let me just tell you, a career pivot is just a rebrand. It is just a rebrand. It's not, I'm getting rid of the whole brand and starting from scratch. It's like, oh no, Coca-Cola now, instead of bright red, now, now it's highlighting the yellow with the fancy, I mean, the white with the fancy font, right? They didn't completely start over with the new formula. Let me know. Let me know if this is making sense. Oh, who's LinkedIn user? She's telling me LinkedIn user. What's your name? Oh, Bonica. Bonica, how come it never shows up for you? I just love your creativity. Thank you, Barbara. She says, love that. She says, can you repeat those three questions to help God? Which one? Y'all know when I start talking, which questions? Barbara, do you remember which questions? What was I saying? Oh, like what is the problem that I solve? That one? Let me know, Tanisha, if that's the one. Like, what do I want to be known for? What's the problem that I solve? What's my gifts or the unique way that I solve it? Let me know, Tanisha, if that's what you were talking about. And yes, those are kind of like my preliminary questions I'm asking everybody. What do you want to be known for? Or like, what do you want people to say when you're not in the room? What are your gifts? And if people don't automatically know what they are, we kind of go through a series of questions. I have a whole, I have a whole coaching methodology that I do to get to what their gift is. And then what is the problem you solve? This is the biggest thing. Because sometimes people are like, all right, Latrice, I know my gift. Maybe your gift is HR. Maybe your gift is communication. They're like, I know my gift. I know what I want to be known for, but I don't know the problem I solve. And if you don't know the problem you solve, then you don't know how to articulate your value. If you don't know how to articulate your value, I know you're not talking in metrics. I know you're not talking about your accomplishments. If you're not talking about your metrics and accomplishments, then you're in this stance of starting over. And I know you're not going to get the money you deserve. This is why truly understanding the problem that you solve is going to be key. That goes hand in hand. This is your brand. It goes hand in hand, right? Like I saw someone's post and they was like, oh, personal branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. I'm like, yes, that's part of it, but are you giving them what you want them to say? Did you do research on what their biggest problem is? Or is it in their language that they're going to understand? It's a little bit more to it, right? But it can be simple and easy. And it is the fastest way to pivot and to help you advance in your career and make more money. Right? It is going to be way faster to change your brand than to get a new degree. It's going to be way faster to change your brand than to get another certification. It's going to be way quicker to rebrand yourself and pivot than to be like, I got to start from scratch and get experience in the field and start from an entry level. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Like y'all, and I'm sharing this because I've heard this from so many of you all. I don't know who going around spreading all this bad advice, but it's not true. It's bad advice. You do not need to start from scratch. What you need to do is build your personal brand and create that narrative. But yes, knowing the problem you solve is going to be key. If you're like, okay, like I said, my gift is communication. I want to transition into HR. That's great. But then why should they choose you over this person who's already in human resources? Why should they choose you over this internal candidate? Why? You need to be talking about the unique problem that you solve and the unique way that you solve it. When we get to personal branding even trumps qualifications. How many times have you all seen somebody less qualified than you get a job above you or get a role? You be like, I have no idea how they got their job. Y'all can just look, put your hand in the comment. You just we have all seen it. And here's the thing. And at some point, I probably was that person. I'm pretty sure the other internal candidates that I was going up against probably was like, how did Latrice get this role? Now, once I started branding myself, they were like, oh, I see how she got it. Okay. Like once I started really speaking about my brand. And this is the thing, when you are in a career, right? And most of you all are professionals, you do not just build your brand to get the job. Once you have the job, now you're expanding your brand internally. This is how we're going to be getting those promotions as well. All right. And Tanisha says, girl, look, is this to like the people less qualified getting the rope? I'm trying to tell y'all some good stuff. While we out here going back to school, and I'm an advocate of college. Clearly, I have my degree, right? We need to balance that with how we're going to utilize it. How this has helped me brand myself. We don't want to get into collecting certifications and in this education loop, right? You want to get what you need to move ahead. And I see my driving me crazy, you guys. It's driving me crazy. All right. All right. Any other questions before we kind of hop off? This was a good one. I feel like I kind of got a little excited, but I wanted to share with you all my personal story, give you all the how of how I did it, and so that you had some clear examples of how you can do it and not take a pay cut, how you can do it and still increase your salary. Right, that is going to be key. How you can pivot and still advance in your career. Right, Tanisha said, well, wait a minute. Oh, Tanisha, it skipped your comment. All right, I'm gonna go back. So Barbara says, expanding your brand internally. Don't stop once you get the job. Love that. Yes, I see that. So I work with a lot of women. Y'all know I work with with women, and they build their brand. We've branded their LinkedIn. Their resume is branded. They're going into these interviews. They can articulate their value, the problem they solve. Branding, mwah, beautiful, right? And then they're like, oh, once I'm in here, I'm just gonna do the job. I'm just gonna do the job, work hard, be great. They're gonna see I'm amazing and promote me. And unfortunately, you guys, hard work is not the answer. Hard work is not the answer it used to be. Hard work is just a slice of the pie. You still need to continue to brand yourself even once you're in the role. This is why I say personal branding is the fastest way to advancing in your career and increasing your income, because it's going to help you in your job search. And then once you get in that career, it's going to help you quickly advance if that's what you choose, or go into any direction that you wish quickly than sitting there just working, hoping that they see, letting them create their own narrative. Because let me tell you, a lot of times when y'all sitting here working hard, right? What do you get rewarded with? What do you get rewarded with? When they like, oh, she working hard. You know what they think? She's the worker bee. She must want more work. And that was what really caused me to change my brand, is because I started hearing people create a narrative for me, and I was like, this is not the narrative that I want. It wasn't the narrative that I wanted or I desired, so I had to change it. But a lot of times we get labeled as the worker bee, and our reward for our hard work is more work. Or I've been told, and this is me too, oh, I thought you really enjoyed the role you were in. Like, if you're not articulating, if you're not building your brand, if you're not sharing your accomplishments, they're like, oh, I really thought you enjoyed being in middle management forever. Like, like seriously, seriously. I want to get to Tanisha's comment. She says, so talk about branding and how to navigate when you may bother or intimidate your boss. Oh, this is so good. Thank you, Tanisha. Um, if your boss is bothered, right, and intimidated by you, honestly, sometimes we got to help them, kind of show them how you're helping them. Show them how, like, seriously, how are you helping them? How are you making their job easier? And you're going to have to create your own narrative, Tanisha, because he may have this narrative seeing a strong, amazing Black woman. He may create his own narrative. You're going to have to give it to him. You're going to be like, I'm here to help you. I'm here to make your life easier. Like, oh, I'm just really creative and I found a new way to do this thing that solves this problem, right? And in saying that, right? That's going to help you manage up a little bit. But if someone is truly intimidated by you, the best thing you can do is build your brand around them. You're going to give them the narrative so that when someone says it back to them, he's not shocked. But who's his boss? Can you network with them? Who's on the side, right? Who's his colleagues? Can you start having coffee chats with them? Can you just introduce yourself in the hallway? Really starting to build your brand around your boss, because your boss does not control your brand and he does not control your promotion. You control your career, you control your brand, you control your promotions. But this is a very real scenario, because a lot of times we may have more education, more experience, and just more overall expertise and like discernment than our bosses. This is a very real factor that we have in the workforce. And that does not mean we dull our shine. What that means is we help him see how your brand is beneficial to not just him, but the entire company. And you need to see it too and build your brand around him. Meaning, talking to other managers, meaning talking to staff below, meaning having conversations with the people above him. That way he has less control. When people know you themselves and you're telling them your brand and you're crafting your own narrative, his words have less power. So even if he is saying something bad about you, it has less power. Let me know if that makes sense. But I've seen this before. Tanisha says, Latrice, let's dive into personal branding and strategies for managing it thoughtfully, especially when there's a risk of unintentionally intimidating your boss. Yeah, I would. And here's the thing: if it's that like much, how would I say, sensitivity around it, right? And you have to tiptoe around your boss, I would be building my brand externally and possibly looking for a new role outside of the company. If you want to stay with the company, then yes, I would be having conversations with people like around him, but you're not talking bad about him. You're just talking highly about yourself. Meaning explaining a project that you worked on, meaning telling about something you did that benefited the company, an idea you had, sharing your brand. And then you may have to really have a statement and repeat that statement. The more times somebody hears something, the more they're going to believe it's true. And if you think people don't know the type of person your boss is, they know. Whether they're sharing that information with you or not, it may not be the case, but trust and believes the higher ups, his colleagues, his co-workers, people on his peers, they know, and I'm saying he as a general term, but they know the type of person he is. But for you, it's going to be a decision. Is it worth the time and energy to build your brand in that company? Or is it more valuable for you at this time in your career and in your life to start building your brand externally and find a different place, right? Only you can decide that. Because if it's a great company, I wouldn't let a bad boss stop me from advancing in my career and staying with a great company. And on the flip side, I'd be like, if it's a great company, why do they have this type of person working there for so long? But yeah, sometimes things do take sensitivity. But the flip side, we do not dull our shine. We do not like quiet our voices, because y'all, you think it's a win and you think I'm buying time, but really they'll just craft a narrative around that and be like, oh, she's not adding value to the team. She doesn't speak up in the meetings. We don't really see you contributing. How are you being a team player? Right? So sometimes it's like you're damned if you do, you damned if you don't. So why not just do what you need to do and craft your own narrative? Because people will, oh, if you don't create your own narrative, they will. They will. And at any point in your career, at any point in your job, you can just start crafting your own narrative. At any point, even if it's a company you've been with 10, 15 years. And if you've been with a company 10, 15 years, you have a brand, but if it's a brand you don't like, you change it. You change it. You get to do it. But that was a good. Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you. Thank you. I may do like a whole like session on that. That has come up before. I mean, like that has come up quite a few times. about the boss, and sometimes we have more experience and expertise. And just like, you ever notice, like sometimes you could have a boss and maybe you even have a better understanding of the industry or of a project than your boss, and it can even be hard to talk to him because of that, because the understanding is just on a different level. I've seen that quite a few times too, quite a few times. All right. This was so good. Thank you, ladies. Thank you all for staying with me. Stay tuned next week. We're going to have a whole new topic. And if you all have any suggestions for topics, put them in the comments. I may do a couple of pop-up workshops. Last week, a lot of people said they really want to hear more about networking. So I may do like a little pop-up live talk about networking. Let me know what you want to hear. If you have any questions about anything that we talked about today, let me know. And again, if you all are interested in that 3-day free workshop on securing the bag, landing a six-figure promotion as a woman of color, put branding in the comments and we're going to get that link out to you. You're going to see all 3 days. The first day is all about personal branding and how to use modern strategies to actually advance in your career and increase your income. And at the end of that, when you stay to the end of the free workshop, I'm going to be doing in real time LinkedIn audits. And I'm going to open up the doors to my Fearless Branding Formula. That program is specifically designed for women of color to help you land a six-figure promotion and increase your salary by $20,000 to $50,000, no matter the job market, right? Because we all know personal branding is the fastest way to advancing your career and increase your income. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, this is also a live on navigating around bias. That is so good. Yes. Because what I just talked about when people are like, oh, you're not speaking up in meetings, you're not, that's a form of bias. And I don't want to go too far, but yes, as women of color, we do have to navigate a lot of bias. And I think with recent things that just happened, we're going to see more people showing their true colors. And guess what? They still going to need us. They're going to still need workers. They're still going to need intelligent people. They still going to need people that help them. But I think I thank you, Tanisha, because I actually think this is going to be something that unfortunately we may see a lot more of, right? It's my 2 cents. I hope I'm wrong. But yes, I definitely am going to do either a workshop or a live. I'm going to be doing something on navigating around bias, especially with recent events. All right. So let's end on a good note. I want to end on a good note. Really quickly, I'll share with you all a quick story about my client who was transitioning from IT to, she wanted to be a healthcare advisor. She was a single mom. She was already making a decent salary in IT and she wanted to pivot without taking a pay cut. What we really focused on was crafting her this amazing personal brand and sharing her unique story. Part of her story was she had naturally lost 100 pounds and kept it off for 13 years. I was like, you have a personal story. This is a gift. This is a thing. Who better would someone want to take advice from than someone who has this personal story? So in the interview, I was like, I'm going to give you some non-traditional advice. I was like, forget the STAR method, forget all these things. I was like, share your story. Tell them who you are. Tell about your brand, why this is important to you. And she was able to get a job at a company that she loves. I actually met up with her a couple times in real life. Her and her daughter were able to move to an ideal location. She's working remotely and she's making more money than she was making before. All right. So I just wanted to tell you all the power of personal branding in your pivot. I wanted to leave on that quick story. All right, you guys, have a good night and I will see you all next week. Bye.